Silicon Valley has always been a place startups have flocked to. This is the place you'll find the best of talent, the money to fund your vision, and a culture that encourages failure, persistence, and paying it forward. But even with all these resources, it's no easy feat to ensure your business takes off. Expectations are high, and most startups have to ultimately bring down their shutters. Failed entrepreneurs take solace in the oft-repeated but possibly exaggerated statistic: 90% of startups fail. But what is more disconcerting is that you won't even be accepted in startup circles if you don't come from a privileged background with connections. Those startups starting from garages have now become the stuff of legend. I am Manu Srikumar and this is Pranav Chimulkar. We've both been making films about startups in Bangalore for some time now and have been what you call fanboys of the tech world for as long as we can remember. But recent trends tell us that people's perception of Silicon Valley is changing, and not in a good way. So we set out to go from one startup land to another to find out, can startups still thrive here, or is it really the end of the dream that was Silicon Valley? A vast portion of the Big Valley seems to think otherwise.
Well, Poketti is a stuffed animal company, so they're adorable little plush pillows with a pocket on the back, so you can hold your phone, glasses, or notebooks. Well, we both kind of work on the design. She's more of the spokesperson, like at sales and things. She's really good at sales. And I do more of like the finance, like updating our sales. Our family have always wanted to have our own family business. Our parents are both designers, and we've always grown up in this startup Silicon Valley environment. And just expanding like maybe a web series, like a TV show or something. Yeah, I could totally see an app.
So Teen Demi is basically, we teach teenagers soft skills and life skills that aren't taught in modern education. And so the biggest problem that I saw with modern education is that we aren't teaching teens how to exactly apply and how to actually succeed in the work environment. Because that's what matters, right?
Draper University was started by investor Tim Draper. He is a third-generation VC. He's invested in companies such as Tesla, Hotmail, Sky, Baidu, SpaceX, etc. Our program is a 7-week pre-accelerator program. We take companies who are either very early stage or idea stage. And today what we did was we had Adobe in the morning who taught our students how to build wireframes on their system. Then we had somebody from Instagram who came and talked about how to build mobile design. Then we had somebody from Tesla who came and talked about how to build hardware design. And now we have Jason Calacanis.
But you got to take a deep look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I adding skills every year? What do I know this year that I didn't know last year? Who's learned a tangible, awesome skill in the past year? Raise your hand to be honest, who learned a tangible. Okay, it's about half the audience. For the other half, let's get moving. Let's get to work. Let's take the work seriously. You have to do the work. Nothing is promised to you, nothing is given to you, and it's a massively competitive world. If you got a participation trophy, they lied to you. You get ungats, nothing, nada, and zero for showing up.
I think still till today, one of our best investments has been PayPal. Later on, we invested in Dropbox when they were 2 people. We invested in Lending Club when it was 2 people. In here, we have 400 startups at a time. And I thought I will have more access to many startups. I can meet them, and then I can make more angel investing. And quite frankly, after I opened Plug and Play, I think it was in January 2006, I learned more about what the entrepreneur needs. Money is important, place to work is important, but more important is the community. More important is connections. I think the most important thing is customers. And that is what we have been able to develop in Plug and Play right now.
With such ideal setups, one would think there would be more room for success in Silicon Valley. There are no lack of startup accelerators like Plug and Play here, with Y Combinator, AngelPad, and 500 startups leading the pack. All of them invest in hundreds of startups each year. It seems like a system built to benefit many, yet one can easily see that it's the extremely rare unicorn startups that reach a valuation of 1 billion or more that are celebrated while the rest slink into extinction. And it makes one wonder, what does this mindset do to the ethos of Silicon Valley?
When I started my first company, I felt I'm going to make something great. And if I make money while I'm doing it, that's really good too. That's a bonus. And I think the kids who come to Silicon Valley today say, I'm coming to Silicon Valley to make a lot of money. And if I make something good while I'm at it, that's a bonus. And if you come to Silicon Valley and say, I want to make something cool, nobody pays any attention to you. Unless they figure they can harness you for them to make millions.
Some say that it is this sort of approach that has put the big players in Silicon Valley sorely out of touch with the rest of humanity. It's what birthed the likes of Juicero, a $400 juicing machine, Bodega, a vending machine named after the mom and pop corner store, and Soylent, a complete food substitute drink for food-hating workaholics. The list goes on. They also say it used to be Silicon Valley-made products that could reach the hands of the common man and make the world a better place. However, this appears to have undergone a drastic change.
I think that in many ways Silicon Valley is not a more nurturing environment anymore. And you can't afford to live here unless you're rich already. And you can't start your business. Nobody will give you money unless you need the Super Bowl ring.
Approximately $86,000 is how much a single person in San Francisco would have to make annually to afford to live here, making it the most expensive city in the world. Housing shortage and income disparity are some of the key reasons attributed to the extreme inflation. Several protests have been staged by old-time residents, protesting rising rents and evictions, forcing people to live out of vans or move to other cities. Even tech workers, who earn what would seem like exorbitant salaries at an average of $125,000, are feeling the pinch and most can't afford to buy a home. Real wealth seems to be in the hands of a rare few.
I think it's great to be a rich person, but I think it's ridiculous to be rich to the point to where you have so much money that it distorts the fabric of society, and that's what we've created. And it's not a tech thing that's created it. It's just that it's like if what you did is you went to Las Vegas and you dialed all the slots machines to pay off big. The same people who are in Silicon Valley looking for their B round would be in Vegas pulling that one out. Because what we've done is we've empowered people who have the most base motivations. And you can see this all the way to the White House in the United States of America. We're not elevating people who want to make it a better world. We're elevating people who want to take their pound of flesh.
It's true that the recent past has seen Silicon Valley strife with controversy, and the media and public are watching it hawk-eyed for any missteps more than ever. With Silicon Valley being too expensive, startups are taking their businesses elsewhere. LA, Seattle, Chicago, and Washington are some that figure on top of the list. And given the current political climate, countries like Canada, Mexico, and China are stepping in to invite immigrants who now feel unwelcome in the US. Given the several issues facing Silicon Valley right now, many predict that it will go through a collapse similar to the dot-com crash, when several companies ran out of money and people lost their jobs. This brings us back to the question we set to seek answers to in the very beginning. Is this really the end of the dream that was Silicon Valley? Given all that we know now, it certainly isn't what it used to be. But it isn't too late for Silicon Valley to go back to doing more of what it used to do, solving some of the world's most pressing problems. Climate change, healthcare, debt, and homelessness are some of the areas where Silicon Valley could step in with technological solutions and reclaim its reputation of making a difference in the world. But some might say we're being overly optimistic.
Palo Alto or Menlo Park is the end game of innovation and entrepreneurism in the United States of America. I don't know how long this end game is going to last. If you play chess, sometimes the end game can go on for hours, okay? But it's the end game. You have a king, I have a king, you have a pawn, I have a pawn. Now we're going to battle it out, you know? And that's what's going on in Silicon Valley.